And all across this country, and especially in Dublin, there is a problem with cannabis. But the problem is not the fact that people are smoking it. The problem is the fact that the people out there that are dealing with drugs on the streets in this city and all over this country, and not all of them, but a lot of them, are behaving in ways that's not on. They're fighting with each other and fighting with their friends at that. Stabbing and killing each other over stupid little things. And that needs to stop. That needs to stop now. But we're gonna have Luke Ming Flanagan, who I'm sure a lot of you know or recognise from TV and stuff like that. So he's gonna say a few words and just inform you all about cannabis.
Thank you very much. Just the first thing I want to say is, can everyone give a big hand to Anthony, Stephen and Sean and Legalise Cannabis Ireland. They've been thanking me for the last hour for turning up. It's fairly easy to bloody well turn up. It's damned hard work to put together something like this. And there's one thing for sure, these boys have done it well, and you're looking good. It's good to see such a crowd. One of the benefits out of being in Dáil Éireann is that you get to table parliamentary questions and to question our Minister for Justice on the issue of cannabis legalisation. One of the downsides is he gives you a half-assed answer when you ask him a question. Now, my office asked a very, very important question of Minister Alan Shatter in the last few months. And the question was, how many people in Ireland have a criminal record for possession of cannabis? Now, some people would say that's a fairly easy figure to find out. Just have a look at the crime statistics for the last 30 years and add them up. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work because certain vagabonds like myself have a criminal record on more than one occasion, so to find out how many have a criminal record. But we have a rough estimate of in the region of 100,000 people in this country have a criminal record for possession of cannabis, for possession of a substance which, according to the World Health Organization, is less harmful than alcohol and tobacco, and that's got to change. Many people are asking the question, is this a good crowd? Well, the reality is, everyone who turned up today has done the maximum that they can. Now, I understand, and I really do understand, why many people might be wary of coming here today. And I'll give you one example why they would be. A young lad, a great man called Kevin Higgins, came into my office about 6 months ago to work with NORMAL, the National Organisation for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. And within a week of him coming into my office to work for me, he had his house raided. So I can understand why people might be wary about turning up. So fair bloody well dues to ye. Ye have shown backbone, because let's be honest, ye have taken a bit of a risk. Now, I don't think I need to convince ye as to why cannabis should be legalised. I think ye know why. But what I am going to tell you about is the fact that this is not the only march that will be taking place this year. The most important march in the history of the legalisation of cannabis will take place in this country at 7:30 to 9 o'clock on October the 29th. And on that night, there will be a vote in Dáil Éireann on whether or not we will legalise cannabis for the first time. That went down well, didn't it? On that night, well, actually, the debate will start the night before on the Tuesday. there will be an hour and a half of debate on the Tuesday night. On the Wednesday, there will be an hour and a half of debate. And on that night, I am putting out the call now to the 100,000 plus people who have had their lives destroyed by this ridiculous law to stand up and fight and get out here and show what ye want, because ye have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Some people will try and minimalise the negative effects that a criminal record for possession of cannabis has on your lives. Do not underestimate the negative effects that it has had on over 100,000 people's lives. Over 100,000 people in this country at the moment, if they wanted to emigrate, given that the government ain't creating any jobs, would not be able to go to Australia or the USA. 100,000 people in this country, if they had a row with their partner in the morning, would never be allowed to see their children again if their partner so wished. If you wanted to become a teacher, you would never be allowed to become a teacher. If you wanted to become a doctor, you would never be allowed to become a doctor. If you wanted to adopt children, you would never be allowed to adopt children. If you wanted to work with vulnerable adolescents, you would legally be prohibited from doing it. So, I say it again, to the 100,000 plus people who have had their lives blighted by this moronic legislation, come out on October the 29th and fight back. Now, in preparation for this massive day, my office, in conjunction with a few other people around the country, are setting up an organisation called the National Organisation for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. We're not a rival to Legalise Cannabis Ireland. We are your best buddy and we will work hand in hand with you. But what we intend to do for that day is, on the normal website, and by the way, if you can, follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. But on that day, for those people who would be justifiably wary about turning up if they do not already have a criminal record, we will be giving you a mask that you can print off so you can, if you so wish, remain anonymous. And I'll say it again, that does not make you a coward. That makes you very, very aware of the consequences of what you're doing. And on that day, we will take advantage of what we now call 3D democracy. There was a time when a debate went on inside Dáil Éireann, and anyone who protested outside sat there not knowing what's going on. On that day, we will have a big TV screen out here with massive speakers, so that when every TD stands up to tell you why you should be a criminal, you will be able to identify them, you will be able to hear their lies and misinformation, and you will be able to tackle them on it when they get back to their constituency offices. No more behind closed doors. But in the run-up to October the 29th, ye all have a massive job. And your job is to tell everyone why cannabis should be legalised. If you're looking for concrete arguments, you get them on the normal website. And what you need to be is what Marion Harkin refers to, the MEP from Connacht Ulster, as the constant canvasser. Everyone you talk to, everywhere you go, you become obsessive and you spread the bloody word. You contact your local TD and tell him or her that there will be consequences electorally if they don't vote for this. You tell them you are sick and tired of giving money to the type of people who shot Veronica Guerin, and that you want to put the money into the legitimate tax economy, and that at very least that the legalisation of cannabis would give 3 times as much money to the state as what would have happened if every last person in this country had paid the household tax. You could actually scrap it. It would save us that much money. Now, as has been said from this platform on a couple of occasions, the only downside to cannabis is that it is illegal. And you can pick anything out there that people like. And if you made it illegal, it would be more dangerous. Now bear with me, and I'm going to give you my apple tart theory. Or as some people outside Roscommon call them, apple pies. The reality is, if you decided in the morning, for some strange reason, that you wanted to ban apple tarts, because you believed correctly that they increase your chances of becoming obese, and because it is scientifically proven that if you suffer from obesity, you are more likely to suffer from mental illness. But if they banned apple tarts for that reason, guess what would happen? Well, people like my mother, if she was still alive, would still make them. She would supply them to her neighbours. But the reality is, more untrustworthy people would make them. And instead of putting in sugar, they'd put in some cheap shit. And instead of putting in apples, they'd put in turnips. And instead of washing their hands and being hygienic, they'd scratch their arse before they made them. And guess what would happen? If you ate them, you could possibly die of food poisoning. So the reality is that all of the arguments they put against legalising cannabis are down to the fact that it's illegal in the first place. And even something as simple and as beautiful as